If, in fact, he did go to Columbia and Occidental as a foreign exchange student and accepted loans and scholarships as such, either he was a fraud then, in which case he can't be president of the United States, or he was a foreign national then, in which case he can't be president of the United States.
That is birther Wayne Allen Root, who is a person who is headlining a Republican gala in Las Vegas this weekend alongside the number 3 Republican in the House, Congressman Kevin McCarthy, and Nevada's U.S. Senator Dean Heller. Who tells these guys to do things like this? And do they think it helps them somehow in a great state like Nevada? Joining us now for the interview is Nevada Republican Steve Schmidt, political strategist, former senior strategist to the 2008 McCain-Palin campaign. Steve, thank you very much for being here.
Great to be here.
Do you think it's a scheduling error? People just don't understand?
Well, look,
there's some magical upside that I don't see.
No, I mean, look, Dean Heller should know who this nut is, and therefore he shouldn't be attending. I think Kevin McCarthy probably had no idea who he was. He's not from the state, and Kevin McCarthy should cancel the appearance. Look, there's a case study in Nevada. Nevada is one of the states where Republicans have given up 5 U.S. Senate seats over the last 2 cycles. In Nevada, it was Sharon Angle. We nominate these kooky people, and we lose general elections. It's extraordinary when you consider the 5 U.S. Senate seats the Republicans have given up. And clearly, the lesson hasn't been learned yet. There should be a total dissociation with the nuts that are associated with the party here.
I had a conversation with our mutual friend Nicole Wallace earlier this week about the Rand Paul thing and about how this, I mean, legitimately, literally neo-Confederate presence in the Senate staff of Rand Paul is a complication for Republican politics, particularly as he gets to be a more and more high-profile figure. Yeah. What's the self-policing? How does the self-policing work on the ground? Or how ought to it work, since it's not working, in order to keep the sort of birtherism and the neo-Confederates and all of these other fringe figures away from people who want to see themselves as having a future in Republican politics?
Look, I think Rand Paul's a very interesting figure, and I think he's going to be a major influence, and I've said so for a long time, in the next nomination fight. He's clearly running for president. Self-awareness, though, is an underappreciated virtue in a presidential campaign. And when you look at Rand Paul here, you see a lack of judgment. You see a lack of ruthlessness that's required to run for president, to toss dead weight overboard. And you see a lack of discernment. I mean, would this guy in a prospective Rand Paul administration be down the hall from the Oval Office? The views are deplorable. It's not a youthful indiscretion. And what Rand Paul has to understand is that his chief strategic imperative in the race is to dekookify himself from his dad's shadow. And he's not doing that. He's going in the wrong direction. And so when you associate with these kooks, you will take on the patina of a kook. And Rand Paul, if he goes down the kooky route, as opposed to trying to moderate himself, he's not going to be a credible candidate for president in the Republican nomination process. He just won't. Even
independent of any of these individual politicians, the dekookification process is one that's really important to the country, right? Because
absolutely,
the Democrats need to dekookify when it comes up there. The Republicans need to dekookify frequently. Right. But it seems like that process is broken.
This was one of the great services that William F. Buckley provided to the conservative movement in the country, which was historically separating the wackos from the serious, intellectually serious conservatives. Conservatism is a serious governing philosophy. You and I have our disagreements in politics, and I would make the argument that in our country, a two-party system, we need this tension. We need two intellectually serious political philosophies that compete against each other.
I agree wholeheartedly.
We disagree on a policy perspective, but what everybody should agree on is that there's no place for the kooks at the table. And this is nutty stuff. This birther nut, who has for years been trying to delegitimize the president of the United States, sowing that poison into the body politic. No serious leader of the Republican Party should be comfortable getting up on the stage with these people.
And yet it happens over and over and over again, even years after the last election.
And the Republican Party has paid a heavy price for it over the last 2 years.
Steve Schmidt, Republican political strategist, certified Nevadan. It's great to have you here, Steve. Thanks a lot.
Good to be here. Thank you.
All right, stay with us. I have to tell you the thing that you have to know about tomorrow's news. And so get your little calendar thing out, and that's next.